There's another story we have of a family. We sat down here, and it was a young man that died tragically. And I was sitting here with his parents, and he said, well, we don't know that we want to have an actual funeral or memorial. We're not sure. We don't go to church much. We have faith, which describes about half of the people we take care of anyway. And we started talking about, I said, well, maybe there'd be something that would be beneficial. I said, tell me about your son. Well, one of the things was when we'd have a conversation, whether it be over the phone or there would always be a Star Trek quote that would come up, or he'd finish a conversation and sign off with a Star Trek quote. And I said, oh, you're Star Trek fans? Yeah, we were not the kind of fans that go to a Star Trek convention, but we all enjoyed Star Trek, the science fiction aspect of it, and that became kind of a common thread throughout a number of people in the family. That would be a conversation piece that we would have at family reunions or whatever else. And they rattled off a couple of the Star Trek quotes, and I said, oh my gosh, those sound like those are maybe even almost scriptural or helpful, and so I bet we could build a whole service around just the Star Trek quotes. And they looked at me and said, really? I said, oh yeah, I think that would be great. Tell me some of the others. And so they came up with them, and we started talking about it, and they said, that would be kind of a cool idea. I said, I can think of it. You said he's got a collection. We brought in his collection of Star Trek stuff. As we were talking about all the different possibilities, just before we got done, I said, wow, this is really good. Don't get me wrong, but this is really going to be cool, and I'm looking forward to this service because it will be imaginative, and it will be all about this guy, and I think it'll really be helpful. Maybe I should even have my staff dress in Star Trek uniforms. Wouldn't that be funny? And they said, yeah, would you? It's like, sure. So I got Star Trek uniforms for our staff. And we wore them the day of the funeral. And it was interesting to see the people as they walked up. And it was outside in our canopy, outside, surrounded by nature. The front of the canopy had pictures of him and his Star Trek stuff. And he also was a NASCAR fan, so we had all that stuff there too. That was pretty cool. And but as people would come in, park in the parking lot, they'd get out and they'd look at my gentleman and says, are you wearing a Star Trek outfit? And the first thing he wanted to say was, of course, we usually don't have the little Star Trek communicator on our pinstripe suits, but we didn't say that. We said, yeah. And the reaction was usually, oh my gosh, this is so him. This is perfect. And then we had the Star Trek communicator badges for all the family to wear. They weren't actually operational, but they looked like they looked like the real thing. It was good. The family was very pleased. The people that came were enthused about it, and you could almost see the change in their demeanor when they came up. So many people walk into a funeral and they're not really sure what's going to happen, and they're a little nervous and not sure if they should go up and say hello to the people or if they should just go have a seat. I don't know what to do. And they got out of their car and they're like, okay, here we are. We're at the funeral home, and oh, you're dressed as a Star Trek character. Yes, we are. This is going to be great. They didn't all say that, but that was the attitude.